Hi, I'm Mike Milito, and I live in Cranston, Rhode Island.
And I'm Judy Fox, also living in Cranston, Rhode Island.
What is your King's connection?
Our daughter Leah graduated from King's last year and is now working at King's in the admissions and registrar's office.
How did Leah go from living in Rhode Island to coming to King's?
That's an interesting question, and sometimes we're not sure exactly how that happened either. When Leah was younger, we used to vacation in Canada quite frequently, and we visited PEI and the Maritime provinces, Nova Scotia and Ottawa. And when it was time for her to look for colleges, I think she remembered those trips and decided to look at liberal arts schools in nearby Canada, and did some research on the internet and came across King's in Halifax. And when she read about the foundation year program, she got very excited because that sort of hit her right in her sweet spot, and she found it on the web on her own.
She also played basketball in high school and was enthusiastic about King's women's basketball.
What do you think makes King's unique?
I think the most unique thing about King's is the foundation year program, at least from my perspective. It just seems like such a sensible way for kids to be learning because it's an interdisciplinary approach, and the world is a related, complex web, and that's how King's is set up, to teach you that everything is related to everything else, and you're learning from, getting lectures from some of the top people in particular fields and areas of study and times of history, and you're then forced to discuss it with your peers and defend your thinking and write, and it just teaches a critical approach to learning and thought that I think is a good foundation for any job that you're likely to have or want to have in the future.
And it's also a small school within a larger school, so she had all the benefits of being in a very intimate environment, yet had all of the resources of large institution. And particularly, I just wanted to comment on what was wonderful about the foundation year program. Since all the students were studying the same thing at the same time, they all had a common knowledge base. So Leah would tell me that she could go in any dorm and join in a conversation of what the kids were reading or thinking about or studying, so that it was just an easy way to get to know everyone. Also, we were very impressed with how welcoming King's was when we dropped Leah off. We didn't expect to get such a warm welcome.
Yeah, I mean, when we drove in the day of move-in, within 30 seconds we knew she was at the right place. As the car drives into the quad, we were stopped by 3 or 4 kids and said, "Who's in the car?" And we said, "This is Leah Milito," and they started hollering, "Leah's here, Leah's here!" And as a parent, just to see your kid be so welcomed and in such a nice, loving way. As we drove away, I told Judy she's at the right place. This is where she belongs, and that was a terrific introduction to the King's Way.
You spoke of the interesting and wonderful relationship that exists between King's as a small, intimate institution and Dalhousie, a premier, large research institution. Are there other aspects of the environment that surrounds King's which makes it a good place for students to learn and grow?
Yeah, I mean, apart from being the small niche of the larger whole, so you've got the best of both worlds. You know everyone in your class and probably in the other classes around you, And so you've got that intimate experience, but you've got the resources of a much larger institution. So you can, when you feel the need to be a little bit off by yourself and not quite with folks who know you inside and out, you can go over and take in something at Dal, and you've got the ability to have very close relationships with your friends at King's.
Also, there was a charm to King's that probably because of the size of it, but also because of all of the traditions it's carried on, that the president of the school would meet with the kids and have like a sherry hour, and so everyone was accessible, and that made the school feel very welcoming.
Leah always said that, she knew all the professors and the lecturers, and it wasn't, an isolated, they're up here and we're down here and we can't talk. I mean, they run into each other, they chat together, they'll see each other in the wardroom, and it's the way you want to be learning. You learn in a formal setting and you learn in an informal setting. You play together and you work together, and it seems that King's was conducive to that sort of interaction, both with students and with faculty and administration.
What does Halifax contribute to the overall experience?
We thought Halifax was a terrific city. We had visited before during one of our summer vacations and got to know it quite a bit better in the 5 years that Leah has been up in Halifax. And the best way I describe it is it's sort of the size of Providence, Rhode Island, but it's got the feel of Portland, Maine, and that is it's compact, it's lively, unlike Providence. There are many people downtown after normal work hours. Restaurants are active. There are people walking on the streets. It's just a lively, engaging, alive place. And Providence, while being of the same size, doesn't have that level of activity going on in the evening.
Mm-hmm. Also, the fact that there are several universities in the city contribute to positive environment for a college student.
Halifax, while it's not a huge city, has plenty of museums and artistic venues and cultural opportunities, and so it's got way more of a punch than you would expect from a city that size.
What is Leah doing now?
Leah's working for her alma mater in the registrar's office. Probably tonight, I think she's up in someplace in Cape Breton, getting ready to make a presentation to high school students and hoping persuade them to come to King's next year.
What would you say to other parents whose children are considering King's?
I'd say go and take a visit and see what it's like. Go talk to the professors, the registrar's office, and I think you'll be favorably impressed, as we were. I think Leah got a terrific education that was the equal of just about any education she could have gotten anywhere in, not only in Canada, but in North America. She has developed an approach to thought and a critical and analytical thinking that I think is going to help her no matter what she does, wherever her career takes her. Speaking to parents of American students, it's a really interesting growing opportunity for your kids, because while Canada and the U.S. are similar in so many ways, in subtle ways, they're different. And I think that was something Leah appreciated over time, and it forced her to think a little bit about what it means, how she feels about being a United States citizen and what it means to be a citizen of the larger world. And that's something that you don't get by staying in the country where you went to high school, where you grew up?
I think a lot of American parents are just not aware of the opportunities available in Canada. I mean, there's very little access to materials about Canadian colleges, and people just never consider it. The reality is that it presents an alternative that I think is comparable to a lot of the high-end American schools in that it offers challenges and opportunities that you wouldn't find in state schools in the United States, and it's, I think, a very stimulating environment for an American student.
I think it's a stimulating environment for any students. I mean, if you like to think and you like to read, you're reading the great works of Western civilization and having lectures from people who know those works inside and out, and that's exciting if you've got a bent towards liking to read stuff like that.
And it's excellent value for what you get in terms of an educational experience.
And was Brown an option for your daughter, Leah?
Yep, Leah was admitted to Brown University and decided that King's College would be a much better fit for her than Brown, and I don't think she's regretted a moment of going to King's instead of Brown.